I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care?
No, we're muted on purpose. We're gonna let this play, and then as we have stuff to say, because otherwise it's gonna.
We were doing it like Anchorman. We were talking shit to each other.
Do you guys know Anchorman? We were trying to smile, but we were talking shit to each other.
I said, I'm going to punch you in the face later.
Yeah, we were messing with each other. All right, we're going to play this video, and then we'll stop it and discuss as he drops heaters. All right, here we go.
Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates.
Yeah, we're trying to stop it because Isaac just said the very best chat quote that's ever happened. I have many leather-bound books in my apartment. Smells of rich mahogany. That's great. All right, we're going back to the video, but I just had to stop for that. That was too good.
Communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it.
All right, so that's a very important thing, is people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And we might not notice that, and he's going to give a couple more examples, but that is a huge, huge point, is you always want to have your pitch go about we believe, right? What do you believe that the world should be like? And that's what it resonates with people, and he talks about the different, the lizard brain and then sort of the frontal cortex. Hopefully he does it in this shorter one. But people buy people buy, what did he say?
People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Yeah, they don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? So they don't buy the computer, right? You don't buy the computer because Apple says, hey, we have a good design and it looks cool, right? Apple's whole thing is think differently, right? They're building a brand around a vision, a style of life. What up, Cardano? And so that's what they're talking about. We'll let them discuss it a little bit more, but this is a very important point.
This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate.
So that's another one. You never want to communicate with features, right? You can tell your people, hey, we do this, we have that, we have that. It does not resonate with people, and this is what he's going to say, is if you go from the outside and you say what you're building, right, which is what a lot of people do. What are you building? Well, we have this feature, we have that feature. It doesn't hit, right? People don't, it doesn't click, right? They can understand what you're saying, but it doesn't drive behavior. And so when you talk about why you're doing something.
Yeah, we have a problem on Earth. We know that we believe we can fix it. And the way that we can fix it is because this is our approach to the whole world's problem. And we happen to be doing it by way of a fast car.
And so I'm going to give an example because I use this in basically doing due diligence on the automation companies that we invest in. Is, for example, let's take Icon Build, right? If they were saying, hey, we have a printer, it prints at this speed, and you can save this much money, those are all good features, and I understand it. But when I talked to them, they were talking about what they believed that the world could be like if you could have a printer that would print a house in 24 hours, right?
And save people from disasters.
Right. So if you could go in right after a hurricane and you can build up a bunch of houses, or what would our homelessness problem look like if we could have all of the shelters and it wouldn't be cost prohibitive? That is a vision, a why. And not only does that mean it's a good investment and our investors going to understand it, but you're going to be able to hire employees that are going to want to kill themselves and go way beyond just the hourly work that they're getting paid for.
To save the world.
Because they believe that there's a bigger purpose. It becomes their purpose. So if you work for Icon Build, you don't just say, hey, well, we build printers. They have a mission that they're actually doing. They're putting their life and their blood, sweat, and tears into this company. And that's how you know a company is going to be valued higher and valuable, because you have an army of people that are going to kill themselves to make it work. And so that's why you want to do it that way, not only to pitch investors, but you have to build
a team.
A team that if you have a bad day or if you're getting sued or whatever it is, there's a bigger vision. That they're like, dude, but we got to solve homelessness. We got to be able to put people on the moon. And how are we going to build houses on the moon? Or how are we going to do stuff on Mars, right? And so people follow their passion, right? And so you need to tap into that passion as opposed to hitting them with a bunch of data and numbers and facts and figures. That's cool, and those are true, but those only resonate with people after you get them hooked on your why.
Elon is very good at the why.
Yeah, Elon's like, we need to change the world. Fossil fuels are not going to exist forever, right? If he just came out, and there was a bunch of electric cars before Tesla, right? He really mastered this pitch. There was Fisker. There was a bunch of electric cars. He came in and he said, as a species, a human species, we need to figure out how to electrify cars. It's not going to work to do the fossil fuels forever. And then he did a similar thing with SpaceX, we're going to make an interplanetary species. And if we're going to survive for the next 1,000 years, 10,000 years, then you have to be able to solve this problem of the rockets to get to Mars and build a habitat. Like, he has a vision. He wants to put people on Mars. How crazy is that? You want to go work for that. You want to be a person that says, when they're out at the bar talking to people, you're like, yeah, I'm actually helping the human species leave our planet and colonize another planet. You're going to be able to tell your kids that, right? That's a company that you will go work 20 hours a day at. And if it's another company that's you're just clocking in, clocking out, you're not going to put those extra hours in. You're not going to care about the company. You're not going to be passionate. So yeah.
The why can never be about money. And also, when Malcolm says too many NFT projects out there, right when we were saying that, that's because all of these NFT projects are out here coming out with what? Saying, this is a purple squid, you need to get it, it's fire.
And that's actually, I never thought about that, but the problem with a lot of these NFT things is there's no why. Why are you building what you're building, right? To make money? If that's a what.
The why cannot be about money.
The why cannot be a what. That is a what in disguise. So if you find a project, I would always say, why are you doing this? Are you going to solve a big problem in Earth? So like KlimaDAO is actually a really interesting one that talked about the why. They wanted to change the problem of climate change by building a DAO that would buy up the carbon credits, increase the price of the carbon credits so that it would make companies forced to implement climate change into their business model. Hey, FJ Maggi, congratulations on the sub. Audi fame. Thank you for doing that.
Tion, send it to us. We'll read it.
Yeah, Tion, send it. So you always need to remember about the why. That's a very important thing. We're going to get back to, there's about a minute left in this video.
From the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal?
Key. So when people say their gut or their heart, and that was
cut out carbs.
That was an interesting point that he made, was that your heart and your gut are not real things. They don't make decisions. You have one brain, that's the thing that makes decisions. But just like those three circles, your brain has different parts. And there are certain parts that when information goes into your brain a certain way, like the way that Pixar has outlined, it resonates with your heart or your gut, and you actually are attached to the story. Humans are addicted to patterns. We're addicted to stories. Stories are just patterns, right? And so that's why you get similar stories in different ways, right? That all of the media in movies and all that stuff, they all have similar arcs. There's similar things that attract us. And so you had something to talk about with the gut,
I was going to say,
right?
It's funny. There's a thing that happens with that part of the brain. It doesn't only come to, exist with people making decisions with stuff. Sometimes, everybody's addicted to Instagram and stuff like that and social media. These are all like dopamine. You have the part of your brain, which some people call lizard brain, which is that limbic system, which is what makes the decisions. The front of your brain is what's rationalizing and kind of like your secretary of your brain. Sometimes your secretary of your brain gets pushed away in a time of any type of peril or something happens or you're stressed out or whatever, and the limbic system comes in, the lizard brain, and starts to make decisions for you because it feels like feeling good. It doesn't know that it feels like feeling good. It doesn't know how to tell you that. And this is why people take out Instagram, and this is why people go and get dopamine hits, and this is why people do all of their vices, because their frontal part of their brain is off, the back part of their brain is on, they're fully lizard mode, and they're just doing whatever they can because they need it. They don't know why, but they do, and they act on needing that. So sometimes it's not just for making decisions on purchasing a product or signing up for a thing, but it goes for a lot of things. So when it is for buying a product, in a similar way that you don't know why you're doing it, you just do it because you feel like it. If I asked you why you opened Instagram 5 minutes ago, you didn't know why you opened Instagram. You just did it because you just you just did it. You just did it because you felt like you needed to do it. So because you feel like you need to do it, that's the same reason that you feel like you need to buy an iPhone and not feel like buying a Samsung, because there's not a reason. You're not 100% sure. You just feel like you should do it. So there's just a whole thing to tap into with understanding the limbic part of the brain and just tapping into that understanding of like what is it gut decisions and how do they work in all aspects of your life. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. When you get road rage, you start driving really fast. That's not a decision that makes any sense. That doesn't help you get anywhere better. But that's an anger decision. It's like a fight or flight decision. It's I feel like I need to drive fast. So there's so many different ways that kind of kicks in. This is one really important way that he talks about it in a positive. But there's so many ways. And if it's interesting to you like it is to me, you should read about lizard brain, limbic brain.
Tenuous Grip said something where it's like, that's why you make bad decisions when you're drunk. And it's because the decision-making element, what is it called? Your inhibitions sort of go away, and it changes the way that you're processing information. It's using a different part of the brain, maybe more of the secretary or less of the secretary.
Definitely secretary is going away after tequila shots. I have a little bit of lizard brain action sometimes, and by sometimes I mean a lot. Sometimes I'll walk around with a bunch of stuff in my hands, but I'll have a backpack on. And Julian will tell you you're an extreme lizard right now because that does not make any sense. The secretary would tell me, you need to put all those things in your backpack. What are you doing? Why are you walking around with stuff in your hands in a backpack? Because I'm not thinking, I'm just going. So it's very important sometimes to know when is it time for secretary and when is it time for limbic. When it comes for making decisions, limbic brain is better at it. This guy cannot make decisions. When it comes to tasking and organizing and doing stuff, the front of your brain is the only part of your brain that can make that decision. The back of your brain is walking with 16 things in your hand and an empty backpack.
Yeah, so that's there's a lot of interesting psychology. Is this psychology?
100% psychology, and it is important to understand why psychology drives all types of behavior. Purchasing, getting a job, working for someone, quitting a job, hating someone, loving someone. What about when people say they don't remember what you do for them, they only remember how you make them feel? So you guys might be learning coming through to this channel or learning doing whatever, but hopefully you feel good when you come to this channel, and that's why you keep coming back, because every time you come here, there's something that's just like, dude, I love it.
Right. It might not be the specific information that you're obviously remembering the information, but there's a feeling about learning. Learning makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're progressing. It makes you feel all these different things. And 10 days from now, it's the feeling that you're going to remember that's going to bring you back, not necessarily the actual data points, the bullet points that you're writing down in your notes.
Everybody falls differently, kind of on in the law of diffusion a little bit, how they fall differently. Everybody has their times and reasons for front brain being good, back brain being bad. Are you an organized person? Do you keep a very detailed calendar? Is your house organized? Is your car organized? These are all front things. Do you know how to judge character? Are you able to see if somebody's going to screw you over? Do you know that if you're going to work for that job that they're totally using you? These are the back of your brain. So as much as it's lizard and not good for some things, it is so important for other things. It's so interesting to just understand, like, how is it working, and understand when am I supposed to use what? When am I supposed to be a secretary, and when am I supposed to be a genie? And
so this is actually ties into another point. Everything is related. So all these things, both personal and business stuff, they're all intertwined. And I had another point that I was going to make at the same time. I think it's gone, though.
I mean, he's definitely more of a secretary. I'm more of a lizard. But I don't know. I'm a lizard. No, you don't want to be one. You want to be both. I was kidding. You don't have to identify. This isn't like Slytherin and
Yeah, there's a range of things, and at any time you can be on any different part of the...
You need to be all of them. You need to just be them at the right time.
I know my point. One of the most important things, and this is like, doesn't matter how smart you are, self-awareness, which is what he's saying, is you have to know what things you're good at, what things you're not good at, in order to be able to identify when you're in a position... Like, the dumbest people that I know are people who think they're really smart and are not people who are actually dumb, right? Actually dumb is not a real thing, but the people who think they're geniuses but they're really not, that self-awareness, that lack of self-awareness...
Self-awareness is being smart. If I can tell you that I'm dumb, I'm probably not that dumb, because I'm able to identify the fact that I'm dumb.
If someone comes in here and says, I'm a stupid idiot and I don't know how to do X, Y, and Z, that person is actually really smart in that they are self-aware enough to know that they shouldn't be making certain decisions. Like, we have people in here that come in and say, hey, I don't know how to trade crypto. Can you just tell me what to do?
I think it's that guy right there. But I will tell you that's not true. He's actually good.
But
but I will tell you this: I can say with 100% certainty, the guy here to my left is brilliant and then also super dumb. So it just depends on what are we talking about, and he knows that. He knows very well that he's probably more qualified to tell people about some things than anybody knows, and then also definitely don't listen to him about something else because he could be the bottom of the barrel. 100%. So just understanding that, Dakota's good at everything, so don't worry about him. He's